Okay, so FRQ3 is always going to be a real life situation. And the questions are going to be exactly the same. The only thing that might change from problem to problem is on part B. Sometimes this is sine, and sometimes this is cosine. But and obviously the situation is going to change, but all of the other directions are exactly the same. There will be no surprises. All right, so this one is all about a windshield wiper blade, and it's a little different. Normally, it's the height that's changing. On this one, the angle is changing, but it's fine. So a windshield wiper blade on a car window rotates back and forth. The wiper blade is farthest to the left or farthest to the, when it is, farthest to the left or farthest to the right. The measure of the angle formed by the wiper blade in the center line is 0.75 radians. At time t equals 0, the wiper blade is farthest to the left. The wiper blade then rotates to the right and passes the vertical center line. At time t equals 1 second, the wiper blade is farthest to the right for the first time. Then the wiper blade rotates left, passes this vertical center line, and is farthest to the left again at 2 seconds. As the wiper blade rotates, the measure of the angle formed by the wiper blade and the vertical center line periodically increases and decreases. The sinusoidal function h models the measure of the angle in radians formed by the wiper blade and the vertical center line as a function of time t in seconds. This is important right here. A negative value for h of t indicates the wiper blade is to the left. And a positive value for h of t indicates the wiper blade is to the right. That is important. I kind of read over that fast in my other class. Okay, the graph of h has a dashed midline and its dashed midline for 2 full cycles is shown. 5 points F, G, J, K, and P are labeled on the graph. No scale is indicated. No axes are presented. Determine the possible coordinates for 5 points F, G, J, K, and P. There are an infinite number of answers that are correct on this, and so the person grading your test will know what's correct and what's not correct. But we typically do it the same way each time. There are some common answers. Okay, so for the wiper blade, the center line is going to be angle 0. All right, what about when the wiper blade is farthest to the left? What angle is that going to be? Negative 0.75. And farthest to the right is 0.75. So on your note sheet, it does say something like the vertical heights are going to be equally spaced, and that is true. They will be same distance in between them. That's important. Okay, and then we probably want to find the period. Sometimes it helps to find the frequency, but I think on this one, I wouldn't worry about the frequency. We're just going to do the period. And so it tells us at 0, we're to the left, and then it switches to the right and back to the left at what time? 2 seconds. That's a full period. 1 cycle of blade wiping is 2 seconds. I love the way this one is worded because it actually makes it easier, I think, to find the time values. So I'm actually not even going to use 0 anymore. We needed that to find our period, but after that, we don't need it. So it says that time t equals 1 second. The wiper blade is farthest to the right. So is farthest to the right going to be a maximum or a minimum on here? It's going to be a maximum, so I'm going to make that be my first maximum. Okay, and then it tells us we're farthest to the left at 2 seconds, and farthest to the left is going to be a minimum. Make sure you're writing this in your answer booklet. It doesn't matter. It's going to be on a computer, sorry. That won't be an issue on your test.
We're not taking it on paper?
You're writing on paper, but the problem will be on the computer. All right, so that says negative 0.75. Okay, so what are the increments in the, what are the horizontal increments from F to G and then G to J and then, very good, 0.5. And so this next one for G should be 1.5. I don't know why I wrote 7, I'm sorry. And then the vertical is going to be 0. Does that make sense? What about K? 2.5 and 0. And P is 3. Good. And 0.75. All right, are you guys okay with that? Okay, that one, I love that one. I hope you guys have one like that on your test. Because they definitely can be more challenging. All right, so B is always going to ask you something similar to this. So we want to find A, B, C, and D for this function. We basically want to find the equation of this function. And so on your notes, we're going to fill in some stuff. Okay, so we kind of already talked about the A question. So the D is what's added at the end. Do you guys know what part of the graph that is? The midline, yes. I think somebody said it. All right, what about A? The amplitude, good.
I don't think I got this paper.
This is I gave this yesterday.
Yeah.
And anytime you need to find the amplitude of a graph on this, or it could be on multiple choice, it's always going to be the distance between the midline and the maximum. It's also halfway between the max and min. If you ever have to do that, that'll give you the amplitude. All right, B, I'm a little worried you might not remember how to do it. Do you guys remember how to find B? Okay, the period is 2 pi over B. So to find B, yeah, it's 2 pi over period. I think somebody might have said that and I just didn't hear it all. Okay. So that takes a little bit of work to do, but not a whole lot. But finding C is definitely the most challenging. And so when we're finding C, it just depends on if you have a sine function or a cosine function that you're working with. And it will tell you, it'll give you the model that they want you to use. If it's sine, you're going to set that B times T plus C equal to pi over 2. Do you guys remember why? It might help you if you read the rest of the sentence. Because pi over 2 is the first maximum in the sine function. So sine looks like this, kind of. In the parent function, that first maximum is at pi over 2. So we're focusing on the first maximum. Where's the first maximum on cosine?
0.
Yes. So that's why when it's a cosine, it's easier to do. You said it equal to 0. All right, then we're going to plug in the value of B that you already found. And then you're going to plug in the t value of the point F, because that's your first maximum in your graph. And then you're going to solve for C. All right, so let's do all these things. All right, so there's our graph. Luckily, on your test, it'll be a booklet, and it'll be opened. You won't have to be flipping around. You'll see what you just did here. We're going to have to scroll on this one. So what do you guys think D is, the midline? 0. What about A?
0.7.
Yes. The distance between the midline and the maximum. All right, and then B is going to be 2 pi divided by the period. And we said the period on this one was 2. So B is pi. Good job. All right, and then here we go. So to find C, we're going to do B times the quantity T plus C. All right. We just said that B was pi. T is going to be where the first maximum occurs. It actually doesn't have to be the first. I just used that one. We could do the second one. It doesn't matter. But the first maximum is at 1. So T is 1 here. Oh, I didn't finish this. What should this equal for sine? Pi over 2. Right, and then we're going to solve this for C. So what would you guys do first to solve this for C? Divide by pi. Do you guys know what pi over 2 divided by pi is? If you don't, it's okay. If I want to take a fraction and divide it by something, I can multiply it by the reciprocal of that something. So the pi's do cancel out. We're left with 1 plus C is equal to 1/2. So what does C equal?
Negative half.
Yes. Negative 1/2. If I'm not mistaken, this is a 2-point question. You get 1 point for getting A and D correct, and then 1 point for getting B and C correct. On this first one, I need to look it up, but I feel like you get 1 point for all of the T values correct, and then 1 point for all of the H values. So it's a 2-point question. Now on this one, the last two are the easiest. And I told my last class that every year they give us a scanned copy of all of our students' free response questions. And if any of you miss these two, I'm going to find you next year, and I'm going to punch you in the throat. No, I'm just kidding. But do not miss these. There's no reason for anybody to miss these. So if you look at your note sheet, part C1 has nothing to do with concavity. So when you're deciding on C1, you don't think about concavity. All right, so this question says that we're going to look back at H. The T coordinate G is T1 and J is T2. So we're talking about G to J. We're talking about this section of the graph right here. And this has part 1 on C is nothing to do with concavity. Okay, so would you say that that is positive or negative? Is H positive or negative there? How do you know it's negative? This is 0 to negative. So these are going to be negative vertical values. So it is negative. Would you say that H is increasing or decreasing there? Decreasing. And so that is going to be H is negative and decreasing. And all you have to write in this blank is the answer choice D. You don't have to write any words. Don't waste your time writing words on this one. All right, part 2, if you look at your notes, has everything to do with concavity. All right, and they changed the directions from last year. Last year it just said on the interval, determine whether the rate of change of H is increasing or decreasing. And last year, all you had to write was increasing or decreasing, but they changed it. So now it says to describe the concavity of H and determine if the rate of change is increasing or decreasing. So writing increasing and decreasing this year, I don't think is going to get you the point. So we have to do 2 things. So we're looking at that same section. How would you describe the concavity in that section? Concave up. Okay, so let's start with that. And we're going to write a lot of words, and we're going to quote the problem. So I would start off just saying on the interval T1 to T2, H is concave up. But you're not done. Then you have to determine whether the rate of change is increasing or decreasing. What do you think the rate of change is doing for concave up? Increasing. You cannot say, therefore, it is increasing. That is not true. H is not increasing right there. So you have to say the words, the rate of change. Never say it on an FRQ. Never say any pronoun. All right, so therefore, the rate of change of H is increasing. Now, someone in my last class really doesn't like to write, and they were like, can we just say concave up increasing? I don't know. Maybe, but for sure, if you write this, it's right. And for sure, if you write therefore it is increasing, it is wrong. So be very specific about what you're talking about. Okay, well then let's look at the Wheel of Fortune one. I keep saying Wheel of Fortune. This is not Wheel of Fortune. This is The Price is Right. I don't know why I keep saying that. All right, so maybe some of you have watched Price is Right with your mom or your grandma. It's been around a long time. All right, so contestants on the popular show, The Price is Right, take turns spinning a large wheel to see who can get closest to $1 without going over. A pointed indicator is positioned at the center of the wheel that is 8 feet in diameter. So the wheel from top to bottom is 8 feet. We're probably not going to want the whole thing, but we'll use it in a second. And then we also know somewhere, it tells us in the picture, but maybe it also tells you in the words that this little pointer that's here is 5 feet from the ground. Okay, to ensure the wheel is working properly, the producers of the show perform a series of test spins. A motor spins the wheel counterclockwise direction, completing 2 rotations per second. As the wheel spins at a constant speed, the height of S above the level ground periodically increases and decreases. At t equals 0 seconds, S is the same height as the pointed indicator. All right, so here we go. We're going to do all the things we did before. We have this dashed midline. We have 5 points. We have 2 full periods. So it tells us that there's 2 rotations every second. Is that a period? They told us. No. That is a frequency. Is 2 rotations in 1 second. So what is the period? 1/2. So that's going to be fun. We're going to have lots of fractions. So I want you guys to figure out the heights. So that point S starts off 5 feet above the ground, and then the diameter of the wheel is 8 feet. So what is your midline? Yes. And then how much are you going to go up and down? What value? 4, the radius. So we would be 9 and 1. Okay, so it tells us that we start in the middle and it rotates counterclockwise. And so is it possible that this is 0 here? Because that's the middle. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
This graph gives us the height that S is from the ground. And so at 0 it's here, and then it moves this way. Is that height increasing or decreasing? It's decreasing. So I am actually going to extend this a lot. 0 is technically here. Now I did hear from somebody who graded this question that they accepted negative time. I don't know if they will again, but they did. So if you get super desperate and you just like, I don't know, this technically could be 0, but I'm not going to encourage you to do that because I don't think that's good math. Okay, so this is where 0 is, and then it gets closer, and then gets farther away, and then closer. Okay, and so 1 period of sine is this shape right here. that shape can be stretched or reflected or whatever. So if 0 is here, that's the start of the period. Which one of these letters is the end of the first period? G. This would be one period of sign. It's an upside down sign, but that's fine. So that period ends at 1/2 at G. Okay. And then even though I don't need these points, there are critical points there. We don't need to find the ordered pair, but I need to find at least the horizontal distance. And so these are all evenly spaced. So halfway between 0 and 1/2 would be this one right here. What is halfway between 0 and 1/2? A foot, yeah. Now I also don't need this one, but what's halfway between 0 and 1/8? Shoot, halfway between 0 and 1/4 and 1/8. The only reason why I'm doing that is so I can tell the increment, how the increments are changing. So each little point is separated by 1/8. So now I know from here to here I add 1/8. From 1/4 to F I add 1/8. So that's going to be 3/8. All right. So 3/8 here would be adding 1/8, which would be 4/8 that we already reduced. So what would this one be? 5/8, and then 6/8, and then 7/8. Now you don't have to reduce 6/8. If you do, it's fine. It's 3/4, but you don't have to. All right, is everyone okay with how I got the increments? Increasing by 1/8 each time. All right, and then we already figured out our vertical distances. And we got both our points there. Yeah. Okay, then we are going to figure out A, B, C, and D. A and D, I expect everyone to be able to do that without stressing. So what is D? 5. And what is A? 4. Good. That's another point you can get super easy. Even if you mess this one up, you can still get these points. They'll look back at your mistakes and try to figure out what your equation would be. All right, for B, we are going to take 2 pi and we're going to divide it by the period. This time our period was 1/2. What do you do when you divide by 1/2? You multiply by 2. So dividing by 1/2 is multiplying by 2. So 4 pi is B. All right, I kind of skipped over this one. I should have read the question, but this one is cosine. So it tells us it's still a sinusoidal function. Cosine and sine are sinusoidal, but we want to do cosine, which is easier. So we're going to take B times T plus C. And what are we going to set it equal to? For 0. And because it's cosine, and then we're going to put in our B, and you're absolutely right. For the T, we're going to put in the first maximum. That happens at T equals 3/8. Okay, and then we're going to do this just like the last one, but it's going to be easier. So the first thing we do is divide by what's in front of the parentheses. What is 0 divided by 4 pi? 0. And then I would subtract the 3/8. But when you subtract it from 0, this is negative 3/8. So last year they did sine on this one, so I don't know if they'll switch to cosine. We'll see. Okay, and we're changing this question because it's the exact same thing. So let's change part C. We're going to go from J to K. I couldn't edit this. I couldn't get it to work, so I had to use the PDF. I couldn't change it. It's okay. All right, so we're just going to go from J to K. We're going to answer the questions about positive and increasing. So I'll highlight J to K, and I'll let you guys answer the last two questions on your own. I'll leave it up here for you to look at. What did you guys say for C1?
B.
Did you? It's definitely A. I'm not sure what happened. Okay, so we're increasing, and the Y values or vertical values are positive. So it's positive and increasing. Some of you might be getting throat punched next year. All right, so this is definitely A. I made a 0. All right, and then what about the concavity? Yes. All right, therefore, the rate of change of H, rate of change Now, you guys, I feel like the timing on for your response questions is good. Like, I don't feel like you're going to be rushed because you won't be surprised. You'll know exactly what to expect. So take your time. Make sure you write out the correct thing. Don't be like me and leave out a word.